tools we'll be needing. You'll be needing a basic ruler. You'll be needing if it's a long sleeve, you'll be needing the hip cuff. A short sleeve, whether short or not, you'll still be needing the armhole cuff. Okay, so I'll be needing the magic scotch tape, the fabric pencil, very important tool, and then your measurement book. This measurement book is very detailed, very, very detailed. You'll be needing your scissors and your tape roll. Okay, so all these things you can get at Swa Haberdashery. Feel free to make your orders on the description button. I'll drop the link there, so feel free to make your orders. We deliver nationwide. Okay, so let's go straight into class. All right, so first we're going to be calculating our cap's height. Your cap's height is gotten by bust circumference divided by 12 plus 0.5. I'm going to go over that again. Bust circumference divided by 12 plus ½ inch. Now this works for all people, but if you're working over time as a tailor or as a fashion designer, you get to understand from experience what works for you. For me, I've discovered that most of my customers are plus size, so I always use cap size of 4 inches and it works perfectly. Okay, so meanwhile, let's use the measurements we have here. So we said we're working with bust circumference of 39 divided by 12 will give us 3.25 plus ½ inch. That will give us 3.75. So that will be our cap's height. Another measurement we need to calculate is what is going to be our height. Now when you're making your basic sleeve, the height you use was going to be your armhole height. Whatever is your armhole height is what you're going to use on this measurement. So now in my own case, I'm using my shoulder. I use shoulder divided by 2 plus ½ inch for what I will use here. For armhole height, I always use shoulder divided by 2. In some cases, I use bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1 inch. Bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1 inch. Again, from experience, these two measurements, you interchange it as you sew. Now, for this, my customer's shoulder is 17, so my customer's shoulder, is 16, so 16 divided by 2 will give me 8. Now, that would have been my chest line or my armhole height, but I'm adding ½ inch for what we're going to do, so I'm using 8.5. So now we said we're working with cap's height. Cap's height 3.75. I'll mark it, and then I'll use my ruler to draw it out. Okay, so now on this line I've drawn, that's where I'll apply my 8.5. I'm going to call this line A, B. Okay, and then I always use 3/4 inch for my allowance. That's an allowance. Okay, hope we are together. AB, line AB. So now I'm going to join this B to point C. We'll call this point C. Okay, now the distance between C and B, I'll take half of it. So this is 9.5, so we're working with 4.25, and then I'll draw a line ½ inch long from this point. Let's call it D, and we'll call this down part E. All right, now let me explain again. We drew our first line, and how did we get that? Shoulder divided by 2 plus ½ inch, and then I added my allowance of 3/4 inch, so line AB. And then from point B, we drew a line to point C, the tip of your pattern paper. Now the line between the line CB, we went to the half point, which is 4.25, and we drew a line that is ½ inch long, and we called it point D, and then this point E. So now I'm going to join point B to D with a ruler. Okay, and then I'm going to use my armhole curve and connect point C to D. I'm going to connect point C to D. Okay, and then I'm also going to connect point C to E. Can we see what I'm doing? And I'll flip my armhole to the other point and connect it to B. Connect it to B. Do you see what I did? Now why we have this is because this point CEB is going to be the front part of our armhole, and then point CDB will be the back part. Okay, so let's continue. If it's going to be a short sleeve, let's say with length 12 inch and 1 inch extra for turn up, or it's going to be a long one with 20 inch and 1 inch extra for turn up. I'm going to mark these points and explain why I'm considering them. Explain why I'm considering them. Okay, so if it's going to be a long sleeve, let's say the sleeve length, the round sleeve around this point is 5 inch, and I'm adding my 3/4 inch allowance. I'm going to use this to connect. I use the hip curve to have your perfect armhole. If you use the hip curve, you don't need to measure in between. It's going to fit your customer perfectly. But if it's a short sleeve, and let's say I'm working with 6.5 as the round sleeve and 3/4 inch, I'll use my armhole curve to get a perfect sleeve. Now, please putting this into consideration. Whenever I'm taking measurement of my customer's sleeve length and round sleeve, each customer is unique, especially when you're dealing with the African woman body. I've seen clients whose the arm around here is bigger, way bigger, and very little here. So I always take measurements at 0.7 inches down the line. I'll take the round sleeve there. Then I take at 12 inch, that's just before the elbow, and I take the round sleeve there. I take after the elbow about 16 to 15 depending on the customer's height, and I take round there. Why I do all of this is because we have peculiarity with the African woman body. When we get bigger, there's a way our body, the fat distributes. It doesn't distribute evenly in some people's cases. So you don't want a situation whereby your customer will say, oh, it's too tight here, or it's too free here. Those guide you too. Do you get? So this is your basic sleeve. Now for your measurement book, I'm introducing this to you because it's really really detailed. I'm reintroducing it. It has, you know how you go to take your customer's measurement, and at the end of the day you forgot to take 1 or 2 measurements, and you start looking for how you can calculate all of that. Now that's because you're writing it out. This has taken a detailed measurement book for ladies, for women wear, girls and ladies alike. Now you can't forget anything if you take this measurement. This measurement can sew anything, trouser, jumpsuit, whatever, it sews it. So feel free to order your measurement book from Swaha Badashri. Okay, so I'll go ahead and cut this out. Show you, when we get to this point, I want to show you how you cut this. Because I didn't cut my pattern paper on fold, so I'm going to be cutting out only the back measurements. Okay, I'll be cutting out the back measurements, and then I'll be attaching another paper to it. Okay, so I've cut out the other parts, and we have to attach it. So I'm going to use the magic scotch tape. It's very good, and it doesn't interfere because you can see through it. So I'm going to be using it to... Alright, so we've gotten it to this point. You can see I have the same measurement, but we're going to have to cut out the front part now. Okay, so now this is the part where you get to cut out the front armhole. So I'll do this now.
It's coming back.
I'll do this now. Okay, so you can see that there's a space, about a half inch space in between. Now this is how you cut your armhole. This is your basic sleeve. It allows you to spread and splash and do different styles with it. Feel free to ask any questions you can ask in the comment section, and let me know in the comment section if you need me to help you teach you on how to cut the perfect armhole. Some people may have a problem with that. Now if you cut this and you cut the perfect armhole, you shouldn't have any problem and sewing perfectly. The width of your armhole and the width of your sleeve armhole would match perfectly. So let me know what you think, and any questions you may have, ask it in the comments. Alright, thank you. I remain Adesua Ogwacha of Swap Couture. See you again in the next video. Ta-ta!